The Nun 2 didn't just continue the story. It tried to expand the mythology behind one of the most terrifying demons in the Conjuring Universe. Yes, the sequel turned out to be controversial. A lot of viewers didn't like it. But personally, I'm glad this film exists, because it's one of the few horror movies that actually attempts to dive deeper into its own lore. For the first time, we're shown the backstory of the demon Valak, how he first took on the form of a nun, what goals he truly pursues, and at what moment he managed to leave his own realm and enter ours. But as always, this has become a classic pattern in horror storytelling. The creators never give us direct answers. Instead, we get fragments, brief flashes of the past, scattered events, and even new demons whose names are never clearly revealed. What we do know is that Valak is one of the 72 demons of the Ars Goetia, described in the first part of the magical grimoire known as the Lesser Key of Solomon. In the book, he's described as a young boy riding a two-headed dragon, and in the first film, we actually see the boy. In the second one, they didn't forget about him either. But the appearance of Baphomet really caught me off guard, just like the revelation that Irene is a direct descendant of Saint Lucy. Still, all of that fades compared to what we learn about the Duke of Saint-Carta, the man who summoned Valak into our world. How was he able to live for more than 800 years? So I think it's time to break down everything happening in The Nun 2. My name is Evgeny, and today I'll do my best to connect all the dots and reconstruct the full story of the demon Valak, one of the governors of hell. No more delays, I promise this will be interesting. Let's begin. So, at one point in the film, the creators clearly try to mislead us. At first, I actually thought, or maybe I just wanted to believe, that Valak was Saint Lucy herself, that for some unknown reason, God had stripped her of the kingdom of heaven and she became a demon. In this version of the story, when Valak was still human, pagans cut out her eyes, and now she's taking revenge on everyone connected to that past, trying to reclaim her eyes in order to restore the power that once resided within them. That's exactly the direction the film pushes us in, especially through the words of the librarian who subtly plants this idea in our minds.
Is it then possible to hypothesize that this particular demon was at some point an angel cast out by God?
Indeed, the story of the first fallen confirms this, but later, the same librarian says that the demon was there when Lucy was executed.
He was there when Saint Lucia died. Since then, he has been following her descendants.
If we return to the moment when Irene has a vision in which she sees the execution of that holy martyr, we can notice that the man who is executing the saint has yellow eyes, the same as Valak's. This man is either Valak himself or he is possessed by him. Yellow-eyed demons occupy the top of the hierarchy in hell, so even there this is very rare. But the most interesting detail is the pagan's clothing, a red robe, and you will say that you have seen it somewhere before. And you are right. In the first film, the Duke who summoned Valak into our world wore the same red robe. If we look deeper, the actor who played the pagan and the Duke is the same person. His name is Mark Steger, and that's very strange. For such a small role, the filmmakers could have easily cast a different actor, but they didn't, which means this choice was intentional. They wanted to tell us something, that the pagan executioner and the Duke are the same person. Saint Lucy was executed in the year 304, and the approximate date when the Duke of Saint-Carta attempted the ritual to summon Valak into our world is 1192. The film never states the exact year directly, but the timeline clearly points to the late 12th century. Now think about what was said about the nun.
It was built by a duke in the Dark Ages. The Duke of Saint-Carta.
But that is the date most sources online point to. That means the occultist managed to live for more than 800 years, which is impossible for an ordinary person. Most likely, a demon helped him with this. Perhaps he made a contract with him, and the strange details do not end there. The actress who played Lucy also played another role in this film, Irene's biological mother. Her name is Kate Colebrook. She looks very similar to Irene. In that scene, I actually thought it was her. But I was mistaken if we rely on the information given in the film descriptions, although I still have doubts. Perhaps in that shot it really is Irene. But in reality, that is not so important. So why was all of this done? An attentive viewer was meant to understand that Irene is a direct descendant of Saint Lucy. We were being prepared for this from the very first film. She has a rare gift of clairvoyance. She found the Holy Father, she saw the dead sisters, and in the second film, she receives a vision, the boy who brought the rosary, and much more. I will not list everything. This is a gift from God that her family possesses. She is a direct descendant of Saint Lucy, and her eyes are not actually a material object. It is the gift of clairvoyance. The Duke, for reasons that are not yet clear to me, wants to destroy the entire bloodline, to kill Lucy's descendants, and that is why he summoned Valak. And the demon hunts all the living descendants of the martyr because of the holy relic, the eyes of Lucy, which Irene currently possesses. Later in the video, I will present even more evidence. But for now, let's examine the scene where the Duke gouges out the eyes. He does it with anger and very carelessly. I think that after such blows, there was not much left of the eyes. That is why, in the box where they are kept, we see dried relics. That is all that remained of her eyes. This relic may be the payment the Duke gave in exchange for longevity. Since we have gone so deep into the history, I think we need a little more information about the martyr Lucy. Like with all saints, at that time, there were many stories and legends about her. Some of them have survived to our time. Lucy was the daughter of a wealthy Roman citizen from Syracuse who died early. Her mother, Eutychia, suffered from illness, and Lucy brought her to the tomb of Saint Agatha, hoping that Agatha would help cure her sick mother. At that moment, Lucy had a vision in which Agatha told the girl that she possessed a gift and was able to heal her mother herself, and that she did not need her help. In the end, that is exactly what happened. Her mother was miraculously healed. In return, Lucy asked her mother to give away all her wealth to those in need together with her. Her young fiancé helped her in this. Her mother Eutychia wanted to marry her daughter off, but Lucy had taken a vow of chastity and refused to marry. The fiancé realized that he had lost both his bride and the dowry, and that his bride was a Christian. In anger, he brought her before the ruler, who decided to punish the girl by handing her over to the brothel keepers. They tried to take Lucy away, but the Holy Spirit held her with such force that no one was able to move the maiden from the spot, even though she was bound hand and foot. Thousands of men could not move her, nor could 100 mules. Then they decided to burn Lucy. They set her on fire, but the flames did not ignite.
They set it on fire, but it didn't catch.
She went through terrible torture, and according to rumors, before she was beheaded, her fiancé gouged out her eyes. If the filmmakers use this story, then it turns out that the Duke is that very fiancé of Lucy. He is also the demon Valak, who in the past possessed the same gift of clairvoyance, but God took this gift away from him and gave it to Lucy, and Valak is trying to take it back. And in the film, he succeeds. This is the main story on which the film is built. But there is one more important detail. It is Irene. I have already said earlier that I believe she is a direct descendant. First of all, this becomes clear after Valak tries to burn her. Like Lucy, Irene is not affected by fire. This is truly a miracle. And at the end, for 1 second, we are shown the power of the saint's eyes. Irene's eyes are also yellow. Later during prayer, we are directly told that she is a descendant.
When the pagans murdered Lucia, her entire family went into hiding. They were relentlessly hunted and scattered all across the globe.
I said I don't remember my mother. I remember her. Saint Lucia.
And her mother says that she has her eyes.
You have my eyes, is that right?
It turns out that for Valak to fully restore his power, he needs to kill Irene and Lorraine. Yes, Lorraine. You know that the films about Annabelle, The Conjuring, and The Nun are all part of the same franchise, and essentially, the ending of the film passes the baton to the Warren family. But I noticed something strange. In Irene's brief visions, for a split second, we see Lorraine's face. Why did the filmmakers do that? And here I have a theory. We know that Lorraine is a very powerful medium, and she also receives visions. This is a gift from God, which, as we understand, belongs to the descendants of Saint Lucy. It's no secret that the timelines in this universe don't line up perfectly. The events of The Conjuring 2 take place in 1977. The Nun 2 is set in 1956. That's not such a large gap. and it's possible that Lorraine is Irene's sister. That is why Valak is pursuing the Warren family. This is my personal theory, but I think there is some truth in it. Before I forget, here is an interesting fact. The actresses Vera and Taissa Farmiga are real-life sisters, and if my theory is confirmed, then in the Conjuring universe, they will also be sisters. The second very strange moment is the appearance of another demon. He looks very much like a satyr. When I watched the first film, I was surprised by this symbol, the pentagram. Valak carved it into Irene's back. This is very strange, because the demon has no connection to this symbol. In the Lesser Key of Solomon, Valak's symbol looks like this. The pentagram is often associated with Lucifer himself, but it is unlikely that Valak could have summoned the first fallen to help him. I still think that this symbol is the sigil of Baphomet, who appeared in the human world in the form of a goat. This demon was described in detail in the book History of Magic and the Supernatural, published in 1961. The author of the book is a Frenchman named Maurice Bessy. And here I was surprised by a number of coincidences. This demon can be summoned by any powerful occultist using a sigil or an image of Baphomet himself. That is exactly what we saw in the film, the goat depicted in the stained glass window. And the second detail is the author's name, Maurice.
Maurice?
That is exactly the name of one of the main characters. What if the filmmakers deliberately gave the character that name, and in future sequels, they will try to expand the cinematic universe? Of course, these are only my assumptions, but it would be very interesting if they did that. The dates match. Maurice could write a book about demons and describe everything that happened to him. There is enough room for development. In the Duke's books, many demons were mentioned: marquises, governors, and princes of hell. All of them are listed in the Lesser Key of Solomon. Malphas, Botis, Halphas, also known as Malthus. This demon firmly settled inside the Annabelle doll, and I think the dark world of The Conjuring will continue to expand. We still have not fully learned what exactly happened to Lucy, and what role Valak played in her execution, the story of the Duke, and much more. But I am glad that in 2 films we are briefly shown the history of the demon. The first film, with a budget of $22 million, managed to earn $365 million worldwide. The second film had a budget of $38 million and went on to earn over $260 million worldwide by the end of its theatrical run. That's still a strong result, especially for a horror film aimed at an adult audience. It may not have reached the massive box office of the first movie, but it clearly proved that interest in this story is far from over. Financially, the franchise remains very stable, and that means we'll most likely see more sequels in the future, and maybe even a full prequel that explores the origins of Valak and the events surrounding Saint Lucy in much greater detail. So now that some time has passed, what do you think about The Nun 2? Did your opinion change after a rewatch, or did it stay the same? Let me know in the comments. When I finished editing this video, a crazy thought came to me. What if Sister Irene and Lorraine are actually the same person? By the way, you can also find the name spelled as Sister Irene in different translations. It sounds slightly different depending on the version, but that's not the point. Lorraine also mentions that her mother was in a hospital and that she used to visit her when she was little. That detail makes you think. So what if this connection is much deeper than we realize? If you're interested in this theory and this video gets enough views, I'll dive even deeper and break down the entire Conjuring universe to look for more evidence and similarities. This video wasn't planned, by the way. One of my sponsors asked me to make a breakdown of The Nun 2. I hope he enjoyed it. And if you'd like me to analyze a film of your choice, you can become a sponsor as well. Don't forget about donations, and of course, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. My name is Evgeny. See you very soon.